Fine. So I'm recording this session and you'll be getting the recorded videos as well, right? So when you start QTP, you get a window like this, QTP Professional Add-in Manager. And over here you will have three options like this. I have got three options. This is the add-in window. This window uh, signifies the various add-ins for QTP. Okay. For example, to test any web-based applications, these three add-ins are more than enough. Okay, ActiveX, Visual Basic, and Web. These three add-ins will be more than enough to test any web-based application. But suppose you are testing a applet, a Java applet, or you have got some Silverlight application. Fine. So for that, we have got different add-ins available, which come up to us when we are installing QTP. Right. Even after we have installed QTP, fine, you can go and modify the installed version. You can go to your control panel. I'm using the server operating system. It's quite old, but yeah. So you can go to your add remove programs. Hold on. Let the list come up. Just a minute. Okay. Now in this thing out here, you have somewhere out here QTP will be present. Yeah, this is QTP. Okay. You can click on the change icon over here, and what you'll get is that you'll get a screen like this. This screen also comes up when you're installing QTP. Fine. And this is the add-on manager window. Like you can select various add-ons. For example, if you have to test SAP-based application, you can actually add the SAP add-on or whatever you want. Fine. Generally, these three are more than enough: ActiveX, Visual Basic, and web-based add-ons to test any web-based applications. Okay. But in case of some desktop-based applications or something, you will need these add-ons as well. Fine. So I'm going to cancel this. Fine. When you start QTP, you get the same set of add-ons: ActiveX, Visual Basic, and Web. Fine. And you click on the OK icon. QTP will start after that. Fine. This is the welcome screen of QTP. You can actually click on the icon over here, the icon called test, and you can go to this window. You'll get a window like this. Okay. In this window, there will be two views. One of the views is expert view. Other view is the keyword view. While working with QTP, we'll actually use the expert view because it actually, this is the place where actually all the magic happens and all the real stuff happens in the expert view. Fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the basics of QTP, and I'll tell you the various ifs and buts of QTP. Okay. At times people feel that QTP is not working properly, it's not recording, running, or whatever it's supposed to do. Okay. The basic thing is they make some mistakes. There are some rules for working with QTP. Okay. The first thing is that when should you use QTP? Okay, then this is the first move. Is your project right enough to use QTP? Is your project at a stage where you should be using QTP? Well, all the automation testing tools, it is recommended you use them during the regression testing phase. Okay, when the product is stable and you have to do nightly builds or something like that. So in order to repeat the testing again and again, you can actually use QTP, right? And you can automate stuff in the regression phase. Right? Even all the automation tools, like if you talk about Selenium, if you talk about self-test and all, everything, they all are recommended to be used during the regression phase. Don't try to use these tools in the development phase. Okay. Now, once this tool is there, started, fine. Like any other automation tool, there is a record run feature in this, which looks quite fancy. Fine. This is the record button. If you click on the record button, this window will come up. This is record and run settings window. The various record and run settings can be done through this for the web-based applications as well as Windows-based applications. Okay. For example, for the web-based applications, if I start recording, so QTP will go inside the recording mode. Okay. You open up a browser. See, Firefox will open. Maybe what I'll do is I'll go to the website. in.rediff.com. So what will happen is that behind the scenes in QTP, the code will be recorded of about all the actions which I'm performing. Okay. Suppose on this I click on this particular link. Fine. So this click will also be recorded. It's not recorded. Just a minute. Okay. It is recorded, and in the end I close the browser. It's printing close all tabs. Fine. And actually this got recorded by mistake. Yeah. Okay. Now this code would be little bit familiar to you. You might be able to understand it little bit, but little bit you might not be able to understand. It's purely VB based. Fine. VB is the scripting language which is used in QTP, and we'll be studying VB in depth right in this course. Now there are some rules for recording the web-based applications as well. Fine. The first rule is that QTP will work on these browsers: Mozilla. Record run will be supported by this Mozilla, and in Chrome only run is supported. Chrome is actually the support for Chrome. Okay, so it was just introduced. You can record the script in you can record the script in Mozilla, and you can run the script in Chrome. Fine. Now, in the whole thing, right? If you are running the script on then i8 and 9 both are supported. In case of Mozilla, this version works perfectly fine, which is 3.5.16. Now this is the version. Okay, I'll just confirm it again. Yeah, 3.5.16. Okay, and inside this, right now what has happened is that last 1 to 2 years, lot of new versions of Mozilla have come up. Okay, so it supports the older one, that is 3.5.16. As far as Chrome is concerned, the latest version of Chrome will work, but for this, on Chrome you can only run the scripts, and you have to get a patch from HP. That patch will make QTP run on Chrome as well. Okay, so this is what your thing is. This is what the rules for recording web-based as well as web-based applications with QTP. Right? These are the browser versions. Another rule is that the application should be opened after opening QTP. Right? Application means the browser. It should not be that you open the browser and then open QTP and then it's like the script to run on that particular browser. No, it will never happen. You have to make sure that you open QTP first and then you open your browsers. Okay, otherwise QTP will not recognize it. Fine. Now, this is for the web-based applications. For the Windows-based applications, we'll look at Windows-based applications. What do you mean by Windows-based applications? Right. For example, an application like this. This is a Windows based calculator. Okay, or there is an application which comes along with QTP. It's very famous and very unfamous as well. Right, the flight test application. Okay, generally people teach on this application only, right? So that's because of that this application has got a very bad name in the market, that very only people can start teaching on this application, they don't concentrate on the real time. This application is good, fine, it's got all the very good scenarios which you can test and which you can learn QTP on. In our course we will be learning QTP uh, on this application as well as on browsers. That is, we'll be in Windows based thing, we will be taking up examples on flight test, we'll be taking examples on a Windows based calculator, and for web based we'll do regular websites and all. Okay, so now for Windows based applications, if I click on the record button, okay, and I write something in the agent name, the username for this application is Mercury. Password is also Mercury. If I click on OK, see, nothing is getting recorded. Okay, nothing is getting recorded. Fine. So for a Windows based application, you have to be very careful. You have to make sure that in the record run settings, if you go to automation tab on the top, you will get record and run settings option. Okay, in this, for the Windows application, the second tab, all the three checkboxes should be checked. When you install QTP on your machine, the second checkbox is actually not checked. Alright, so this causes a lot of issues. The Windows based applications are not recorded. If you click on the second checkbox and now you click on the record button and open up flight test application, and suppose I select something from here, you see that the recording starts. See, the recording is taking place. Okay. Now I am assuming everybody knows what basic record run is, which is there in every automation tool. Okay. If I stop the script and click on the run button, all the steps should be executed. Okay. Now, as far as record and run is concerned, we will study it, but we will not be concentrating on it that much because practically record and run is not possible. Why is it not possible? Suppose a website like KingfisherAirlines.com. Okay, every day the flights flying from one station to another station, they change. The prices of the flight, they keep on changing. So what happens is that on such dynamic websites, the record and run will not work. You record today and maybe tomorrow you will not be able to run it. Right? So record run feature is good, looks very fancy, but in no automation tool we use it. Even in Selenium tool like Selenium, record run is there in IDE, but very few people use it. Okay, so the rules, coming back to the point, the rules for the Windows based application is that the checkboxes should be checked. Okay, in the automation record run settings, this radio button, sorry, in Windows based application, all the three checkboxes should be checked. Right. Now another time when QTP fails to record is that sometimes in your browser you have some add-on. For example, in my browser right now there is no add-on, but sometimes there are add-ons like Yahoo Messenger add-on or some other add-ons which are there in your browser. What happens is sometimes some add-on it conflicts with QTP. Okay, and QTP is not able to work on that particular browser. Right, so make sure that unnecessary add-ons are not there. This happens very rarely, but if it happens, you are not able to figure out anything. Okay, now another thing which you need to remember is that in case of Windows 7, okay, in case of Windows 7, you need to turn off UAC of Windows 7 to make QTP recognize your browsers. So just go to Google I hope you are able to hear me. Okay. Now in Google, just type uh, just a minute. Just a minute. Give me 1 minute, guys. Just a minute. My thing has hanged. Just 1 minute. It will be okay. Yeah. Okay. So in Windows-based applications, right, you simply have to write, sorry, in case of Windows 7 operating system, okay, you have to turn off UAC. Okay, turn off UAC in Windows 7 or Windows Vista as well. Okay, you have to turn off UAC. You can read the instructions. So you can search on Google, and the resultant page will have the instructions on how to turn off UAC in Windows 7. Just follow the instructions step by step, and you'll come to know how to turn them off. Right. Once you have turned off UAC, it's a setting user account control. You need to restart your machine, right? And once you have restarted it, QTP will start working. So sometimes there are add-ons in browser which conflict, or sometimes you need to turn off the UAC. Okay, that is user account control. Right. So Mozilla Chrome are supported, right? It works on Windows as Windows-based applications as well. All the three checkboxes should be clicked on, right? And UAC should be turned off. When working with QTP, UAC should be turned off. So these are some rules which are applicable for QTP. Okay. Now the place which is highlighted over here, out here, this is the expert view. In this place, we will be keeping all our, we will be writing all the code and all whatever you have to write. If I place a single code in front of a line, it's like a comment. Alright, I have put single quotes in front of lot of lines. Okay, so don't get confused with single quotes. This means that these lines are inactive, they don't do anything. Okay, fine. So I'll save this test. Hold on. Just a minute. Yeah, I'll save it as day1_1. Okay, so this is my test. This is known as a test in QTP. This panel over here, you write the code corresponding to the test. If I write over here new test, then the old one will go away and the new one will come out. You can open the existing test by going to open test and open this one. If you physically go to the location where the test is actually stored, right? So for example, you go to this thing, just a minute. E drive. This is your script, day1_1. it looks like a folder if you go to physical location. Fine, but don't worry, if you open this in QTP, it will not look like a folder. If you go here, open test, it will look like an icon. Fine. If you go out here inside the folder, you get action 0, action 1, you go inside action 1, and this file script.mts, if you open it, this file will actually have the script which you made in your code. Script.mts, you not require this file, but it's for your own purpose. I'm telling you that script.mts inside the action, it holds the contents of the file. Okay, now we studied about the simple record run feature, the various rules. Okay, we studied about saving the script and all. Fine. Now let's move further on. Okay, and before I move further on, any question from anybody regarding QTP, regarding how it works, regarding your project, anything, any question, any doubt, you can just. QTP as a tool, it only works on Windows-based applications. Although Safari, you install Safari on Windows as well. Safari is not supported. Okay. Now let's make a new test. Okay. And let's see how QTP works, how it records, how it runs, how it perceives things and all. Okay. Putting it up in very simple words, when you record, okay, things go inside QTP, the memory of QTP, right? And when you run the script, okay, things are compared and recognized with the help of that memory. For example, okay, you go to the market and you look out and you like a shirt, fine. So the image of that shirt remains in your memory, fine. You remember that I had gone to the market that day and I had liked that shirt. When you again see that shirt, you are able to relate it because you have seen it earlier. The picture is there in the memory. So that's what happens in record run. You record it, everything goes inside the memory of QTP, and when that thing comes up, right, it is back on the page. QTP recognizes it that way. For example, I'll record. Hold on. One minute. Okay, I'll start recording. I open up Mozilla, go to the website, say in.rediff.com, right? And after going here, I click on the link more. Fine. So what happens is that you get behind the scenes, you see that this kind of coding is getting generated. So this is a kind of VB script, you can say, right? But how will it be helpful to us? Okay. Now in QTP, you have something known as object repository, and you have something known as objects. Everything in QTP is categorized under the object category. A link is known as an object, a button is known as an object, a page is an object, a browser is an object. Everything is categorized as an object. Fine. So when you click on a link, okay, you interact with the object. and that object is stored inside the memory of QTP, right? So when we open a browser, okay, we open a browser, we look at the browser, we see that with our own human eyes, we see that this is a button, this is a link, okay. So QTP, for QTP, everything is an object, and how QTP looks at stuff, you can find it out, or you can actually experience that with the help of something known as Object Spy. The Object Spy is out here. Okay. Object Spy, when you click on Object Spy, a window like this opens up. Right? There's a hand on it, and it's got a properties panel, values panel, and all everything. Okay. Now to use Object Spy, this thing is similar to Firebug in Mozilla. Okay, if somebody has used Firebug, then this thing is similar to that. Now, if you have to use Object Spy, right, you can actually do like this. I'll maximize this browser, okay, and I will maximize QTP. So basically, what is there is that the browser is behind QTP. Okay, so and when I click on this hand, what will happen is QTP will disappear and the browser will come up, right? So this is how you use QTP. This is how you use Spy. I'll tell you the relevance of it. Just a minute. When you click on this again, QTP will come back. Fine. So when you click on this hand, QTP goes away, and if you move your mouse, you will be able to see that this Spy is showing a black boundary against various objects. Okay. For example, I move the Spy over this link rediff.com. If you look in the Object Spy, it's showing you a category. Browser, under that there is a page, and under that there is a link like this. Browser, page, and link. Fine. So this is the object hierarchy. That means inside the browser there is a page, and inside the page there is the link. And these all are the properties of that link. So you can investigate any object with the help of Object Spy like this. You can move your mouse anywhere on the page, and this is the web edit. This is the properties of the web edit. Web edit means a text field inside QTP. Text field is known as web edit. For example, I move my mouse over this button, real time. Button is known as a web button inside QTP. Okay. Now, if you want to move the Object Spy, I'll not be able to move the Object Spy, because if I click anywhere, QTP will come back. Right? So if you spy, and if you want to move the Object Spy during the spy process itself, you can press the control button of your keyboard, and then Spy will get disabled. You can move the Spy, or even if you want to click on any link, you can click on it. But make sure that control button is clicked on and it is there. Right? So you cannot click on the page when the Spy is working. Holding the control button disables the Spy window, and you can do anything. You can move the window, you can click anywhere inside the window, you can see the properties, you can right click on the property, whatever you want to do, you can do. Okay. Right? So Spy is something which is read only. It tells you the properties associated with the object. This is similar to the concept of Firebug. If anybody has studied Firebug, but it's a little bit advanced than Firebug. It's got a little bit good features than Firebug. Okay, Firebug is also good, but as we proceed with this Spy, you will understand what I mean to say as we proceed with the course. Okay, now Py helps you to recognize objects. Okay, if I am on the page, say bbc.com. Okay,